Welcome back. Today we got another patient here. It's our trusty mains analyzer, and apparently it sticks in a boot loop, so it powers up, and if you're quick enough you can actually see the menu, but then it reboots again. I suspect that the power supply is poor, probably one of the capacitors. This thing is probably from the mid-90s. It's a UPM 6000 universal power meter. It does low current measurements here, and you got 3 current clamps. I think they're up to, don't know, what's that, 1200 amps max. Yeah, they're up to 1200 amps max, 400 volts. It does harmonics, it does everything, power, whatever you want, and we use it quite regularly for investigating noise on mains and things like that, especially with inverter drives or dropouts. It does long time recording, so you can record that for a while. It's got a serial port. I have some software. I started to write some new software for it because the old software is a bit odd. I just didn't have the time. We'll get there at some point, but today we need to look why it doesn't work, because I had it with me on site and wanted to check something, and apparently it did that. 3 weeks before it did work fine. Anyway, let's take it apart and look into it. I think it's just these 4 bolts, and see what's happening. I think, yeah, my educated guess is the power supply, because apparently it does something. It could well be there's an EEPROM dead or whatever. It's not a young device, honestly, anymore. Okay, let's take the bolts out and see what we find inside. Well, it turned out you can take the unit out here and just take those bolts out, and then we should be able to see what's inside. The display may need some cleaning inside as well. Cover is a tight fit. No bad smell. That's good. Okay, what have we got here? Okay, it seems to be fairly modern. It's most likely a switching power supply. Don't know if that's visible. Some light here. So we got the 3 current transducers here. That's for the measurement circuitry. We got a gold cap for remembering all the memory stuff for a while at least. Power comes in here, so this is the power supply here. The electrolytic has not exploded. Apparently there's no writing on the board, so we need to figure out what's going on here. Yeah, this is dangerous because that's mains voltage here. So we need to look what we can do here. It's got some memory here. Well, it's an interesting it's an interesting design. It's all a bit, it's not square actually. That's upright. Anyway, checking for loose components, then we'll check the voltage on the gold cap, and yeah, we just gotta be careful because it's all mains voltage here. So we need to take the front panel off anyway because it's dirty inside. I wanted to do that for a while, but I just didn't have the time for it. Okay, this stuff is only that's for measurements only. That's just if I do single phase measurements, I just take the power from there. That's all fine. Yeah. So let's take that out here. Get rid of that. And in normal medium power setups, you use that's your phase voltage measurement against neutral, and that's where 3 current clumps go. Anyway, at least I can't see anything smoked, which is good. Let's power it up and see. Don't like that, but should be fine. Okay, it was fixed in the boot loop. I had it sometimes that these gold caps, the high capacity electrolytics, that they die, and it appears this one has been resoldered once. Got 3 volts, 3.5 volts. This is the mains. That's the mains electrolytic here. We should have about 340 volts ish. That's okay, so we have full voltage here. The problem is there is no sign of. Okay, so the mains part may work. So what we could check is actually the 5 volts. I can turn that around here. Get rid of. Don't do this. Don't do this at home. It's all mains power. Okay, we have a few options here. One could be the sockets of the EEPROMs. Sometimes they're bad. So it's always a good idea just to pull it and put it back in. We can check the voltage on the EEPROM. Entirely sure, I think it's those two. No. Can't read that. That's the TTL here. We're measuring just over 5 volts. That looks good. I think we check the ripple with the scope. There's a low voltage electrolytic here. Let's see, we've got here. That's 10 volts, well, 9.5 volts here. That's a dodgy looking one. It looks a bit swollen. Who knows? Build date, I would say 9509 is the date code here. 9601 on the EEPROMs. So it's probably made in 96, early 96, mid 96. That's what it looks like. Yeah, manufactured in 1996, most likely. So that's 20 years old, at least. Yeah, we could have several issues with dying components. Okay, let's do a few of the usual ones here. I'm just a bit. And the problem is, if you pull the power, you may still have some good voltage on that electrolytic here. Oh, 4.5 volts. So it went down quite quickly. We know at least the power supply is doing something. We need to figure out what this 5-volt thing here is doing. Is there a voltage regulator in it? Yeah. So it's this 9 volts or whatever we measured here is going by this 5-volt regulator here, and that's probably producing the 5 volts because the 5 volts look good. So, not that this is any scientific thing here, but we had it working for quite a few times when we just pulled the EPROMs and put them back in. It's just old sockets. Problem with this ceramic. Would probably be worth taking a copy of those. What does it say? 2.59 is the version, okay. Whatever that means. It's been carried around in the car and exposed to moisture and all sorts of things. So there is a good possibility that this thing has some vibration related issues here. Again, it was working when I had it last time on site, and then obviously I carried around the whole thing. There's no more components and sockets here. If that doesn't work, we need to figure a few other things here. So let's see what it does. It does the same. I had it running for a while just to make sure the battery is not the issue. We're still in the wood loop. That's bad. Apparently it's reading the EPROMs because it says release 2.59, that's what we found on the EPROM. We may have bad memory. It's difficult because these things are, there's no drawings. Anyway, we'll find it somehow. I think it's something either vibration related or age related. Yeah, we just need to figure it out. It will take a bit. We are, once we're closer to it, we'll come back with our conclusions. There's quite a few possibilities. It could be RAM's bad. It found 512k of RAM, so that seems to work as well. Who knows? That's just a serial port. Anyway, we'll come back as soon as we know a little bit more about it. Too many possibilities right now. I need to look into it closer with more light. Well, apparently we fixed it. What we did was discharging the backup capacitor, that gold cap. We completely discharged it. I think there was some garbage in memory, and that didn't let it boot, so now it's working. Yeah, it's working okay. There might be some weird setting in memory, so if you completely discharge the capacitor, it just forgets everything, and apparently that helped. It was an easy fix. So we take the display out and clean it from the inside because it's pretty dirty, and then we go do a quick run through and show what it actually can do. It's quite a handy piece of kit, so I'm happy to have it back to life. It's priceless for doing mains investigations, especially if you got brownouts or dropouts. It records it over time, and you can see what's going on with the voltage. All right, that's it for now. Dinner time. Probably carry on tomorrow. And do the clean, put it back together, and do a quick rip rundown. Show its capabilities actually. All right, that's it for part 1. Thanks for watching, and see you in part 2.